So these are the topics that we are going to be covering today. So I'm going to share the history of our company and the vision that we have, our product portfolio, and a brief introduction to factoring, which is the main reason why I'm doing this presentation. Then the general terms and conditions of the facility and the required paperwork for you to access the facility. So Quest Financial Services was founded in 2010 by a group of visionary men with vast experience in the banking sector. Lending to civil servants, NGO employees, and bankers was our main business up until 2016 when we ventured into money transfers. We partnered with MoneyGram and Western Union at that time to remit funds to various customers across the globe. So our influence in the money transfer space grew, and we were also able to bring in World Remit and Access Forex on board. So these platforms enabled us to run an effective foreign exchange unit. Our aim is to create wealth for the rural people, where times are not privileged to having financial services at their disposal. This is in line with the financial inclusion objectives of the RBZ. We have run several programs, agricultural programs in the rural areas, mostly terming them the Gutamore projects, where we provided low interest rates loans to farmers. We also target entrepreneurs and businessmen such as yourself across Southern Africa to provide them with flexible and tailor-made credit solutions and technical support that suit directly into your needs. So we have a wide range of portfolio, but we mainly have 4 business units. So these business units we have the microfinance division, the money transfers division, the foreign exchange division, and the travel division. The travel division is the latest one. We introduced it late last year, around November. So these are the specific products under each unit. So under the microfinance division, we offer payroll-based loans. This includes the civil servants and companies that we have payroll deduction agreements with. Let me take this opportunity to tell you that our doors are open for PDA arrangements. If your employees are in need of financial assistance, we can make arrangements with your HR to have their repayments deducted directly from their pay. We also have SME loans. If as a company you require financial assistance, we're at your disposal. We also do asset financing. If you have an asset that you'd like to acquire, we can pay for that asset on your behalf, and you can pay us in installments. Then we have the agricultural loans, the Gutamore projects that I have mentioned earlier. We also have invoice discounting facility. Right now we are in partnership with Edgars. So we discount the invoices of Edgars suppliers. We also provide factoring services, and I have highlighted before that is the main reason why we have called for this particular meeting. Then we have money transfers. So we do inward and outward remittances in partnership with the mentioned money transfer agencies that that are listed here: Western Union, Access Forex, RIA, and World Remit. So the recently added unit of travel, we call it Quest Travel. We do flight bookings, hotel reservations. These are for your holidays, where you need to rest and have a good time. Now, allow me to move into the most important part of my presentation, which is factoring. Okay, so this is a new term to some, but I'm sure to some it is not a new term. It's something that we are used to, but it's something that in Africa there have been low rates of factoring. We haven't been doing much of factoring, mainly due because of lack of funding and the likes. So factoring is a financial services which is provided by banks or independent firms based on open account trade receivables. So in this instance, we'll be having a seller of goods sending and delivering goods to the buyer before payment is made. Then the buyer promises to pay the goods in, say, 30, 60, or 90 days, leaving the seller with a financial gap. So that financial gap of 30, 60 to 90 days without payment, some even stretch to 6 months without payment. It leaves the seller without enough funds to run his daily activities. And this is where we step in. So I have taken the liberty to draft a simple illustration of the factoring process. So in step 1, we have a buyer placing an order with the seller. Then in step 2, you have the seller shipping the goods to the buyer with an invoice, and also giving notice to the buyer that the invoice has been assigned to the factor. So we are the factor. Quest Financial Services is the factor. Then the invoice is assigned to the factor. The receivable is assigned to the factor. After that, we make an advance payment to you, the exporter, the supplier. We make an advance payment to you. Then this notification that I was talking about, it will be notifying the buyer that when the invoice matures, the buyer has to pay the money directly to the factor. Understand? So in essence, we are buying the invoice. So these are some of the functions that we'll be performing in the deal. We finance the seller. We monitor the seller-buyer relationship. Then we also perform credit evaluations on both the seller and the buyer. Then we follow ups and collect invoice from the buyer. Then we also take the buyer's credit risk in case of buyer's default. The credit cover is provided by insurance. Okay. And so when the factor receives the money from the buyer, so because we discount a certain percentage of the invoice, let's say 80% or maybe 70 or 75. So we take what is due to us, what we have done for you. We take what we have done for you and we remit the difference back to the seller. So So the Afrexim Bank, after discovering that intra-African trade is low, they decided to give a line of credit to SMEs through the banks and players such as us. So we were giving we were granted a revolving factoring line of credit of up to USD 2 million, which we have to dispose to some SMEs for these factoring activities. Okay. So these are the general terms and conditions of the facility for you to access the facility. So one thing that you should note, this facility is targeted to exporters. We are mainly looking at exporters, people who are companies who are selling their products to buyers in foreign countries, South Africa, in Zambia, all over the world. If you have a foreign data, this is your opportunity. So the minimum value of each receivable or the minimum value of each invoice should be 25,000 USD, 25,000 United States dollars. Then 80% of that invoice must have insurance cover. So that insured value, that 80% that is insurance cover, that is 80% that we are comfortable to buy. So the approved supplier limit, so the amount of money that we can assign to each supplier is a maximum of $500,000. Yeah, we cannot exceed that. Days to invoice maturity should not exceed 90 days. So this is clear. Then the discount rate is 8.4% all in on a pro rata basis. So we are saying that if your invoice is left with 20 days to mature, we only discount basing on the remaining 20 days to maturity. Then our turnaround time. So for you to access these funds that we're talking about, for us to make an advance payment to you, it will take 7 to 14 days. That is 1 to 2 weeks after having provided all the required documentation. The required paperwork. These are the requirements for you to access the facility. We have counterpart information, your company counterpart information. We would like information about you and information about your buyer in an overseas country. Then the company profile, bank statement for the past 3 months, ID documents for the directors, your company registration documents, your proposed security, then your factoring application later, the valid tax clearance certificate, monthly sales analysis for the past 6 months, and your financial statement. Okay. So if you're interested, you can visit us at our offices at number 6 Rochester Crescent in Alexandra Park here in Harare. Then these are our phone numbers. You can get in touch with me. This is my number. It's one that I've highlighted. This is Mr. Lado's number. He's our business development manager. You can also get in touch with him. He can help you, can assist you in whatever questions you might have. And below these are our email addresses. Yeah, so feel free to get in touch to ask questions about this facility. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I open the platform for any questions that you might have right now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gutu, for giving us that comprehensive presentation and for all the insights that you have provided us. I liked how we are also moving to the rural areas and promoting the creation of wealth for the rural people who are sometimes financially excluded, and also for the agricultural programs that you mentioned that you are also implementing in the rural areas by providing low interest rates to farmers. If I can also take you back, Mr. Gutu, to the issue of SMEs financing that you have mentioned, I just wanted to understand in terms of flexibility, in terms of how the current existing credit facilities in the market are responding or addressing the challenges that businesses are facing. I will particularly mention the issue of lack of collateral, especially for budding entrepreneurs who might have brilliant ideas that they have, and all they have with them is a business plan, but they do not have collateral. How flexible are your credit facilities in terms of accommodating ideas such as that? Over to you, sir.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. At the moment, yeah, we actually have been doing collateral-based loans for SMEs. This is mainly due to because those without collateral, it's a high risk venture to do. So we have been saying that your collateral should be 3 times. It should be 3 times the amount that you're borrowing, and I am sure that it is a bit unfair to start up businesses. People who are venturing into business for the first time, they don't have any collateral with them. They just have an idea. So we were trying to engage some organizations that can give us funding to fund such kind of people with bright ideas. It's something that has been of concern because what we're actually using right now, they are directors' funds. They'll be looking to making the most out of those funds. They don't want high risk projects, so they were mainly asking for collateral. Right now, we do not have non-collateral based loans for SMEs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gutu, for the response. Allow me to just go into our chat box there. I think there are 2 questions that have been raised already. The first one being, what are the interest rates for these facilities? Then the second one, which says, can we use our existing business machinery as collateral? What kind of collateral do you prefer for SMEs? If you can kindly respond to the 2 questions as we proceed.
Okay, so for the SME loans, our interest rates, they usually range from 7 to 10% a month. Then for services that I was talking about, it's 8.4% all in. Those are meaning all costs are involved in the 8.4%. Then the question to do with collateral, you can use the machinery that you're using right now as collateral. It's very possible, yeah, as long as its value is 3 times the amount that you're requesting. Yeah, I think that's a bit clear.
Thank you. I think it is clear now. Yes, Mr. Gutu, Then we also have got an issue of some businesses that have lost their properties, talk of houses, vehicles, buildings, and other valuable properties, which they would have placed as collateral, but then failed to pay back those loans. So just as a means of education, what factors should businesses consider when evaluating the suitability of a credit facility for their specific needs? If you can maybe also just provide some guidance on how businesses can assess whether a credit facility align with their requirements so that they would utilize the funds that they would have borrowed effectively and not lose their collateral.
Okay. Okay. First and foremost, when providing collateral, we should have some sort of assurance that that the collateral that you are providing is insured. Specifically for, because there are some that provide motor vehicles. So we would like to have a fully insured vehicle being pledged as security, pledged as collateral. What I would advise businesses to do when it comes to safeguarding their collateral. Before we move on to that, what we usually do, we evaluate. Sorry, what was the second part of your question again? I think I'm getting lost there. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Good, yes. So the second part was just to basically seek some guidance in terms of how businesses can assess whether a credit facility aligns with their requirements, so that maybe when they get the facility, they can be able to utilize it effectively for the expansion of their business or whatever business objective that they have.
Okay, all right, okay, that's it's clear now. Okay, usually we have had instances where SMEs just borrow money for this, just for the sake of borrowing, without without using the money for the intended purposes. So they have a case whereby a business comes and says, would like to do this. They apply for a loan, for a credit facility, and then they say we want to do ABC. Then they end up doing something else with the money, because these loans are structured to grow the business, not just to buy maybe motor vehicles for management, something that does not generate income for the business. So I would encourage businesses first to use the acquired funds for the right purposes, to grow the businesses, to the business, not to use the money just for unnecessary activities, and also to be able to know if, because you should also do a credit assessment of yourselves, and look and say, if you're going to be borrowing 5,000 over 3 months, are we able to borrow that kind of money over such a short period of 3 months? Are we able to repay back that kind of money? You should also be able to look at you should be able to scout for low interest rates in the market. The lowest that you can get is the one that you are supposed to take, preferably with a higher tenure, with a higher repayment period, so that you have time to repay back the loan, so that it does not become a burden to your business. repaying back the loan. So that is my advice to fellow business people on this platform. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The response is well noted. I've got a response in the chat box from Rowan Meda, who wants to ask a question directly. So, Rowan, if you are listening, you can go ahead and ask your question. Rowan, are you there? Or maybe whilst we're waiting for him to come through, just another question to you. And please feel free to just type in your comments, your feedback, your questions in the chat box. We're also going to open the floor for questions so that Mr. Gutu can give us his feedback as well, or clarifications where there's need. But whilst as we proceed, maybe just another question to you, Mr. Gutu. I also want to understand in terms of how you as financial service providers also assess the credit worthiness of businesses that are applying for some of those credit facilities that you offer. If you could maybe just give us some insights into the evaluation process and factors that are taken into consideration, so that maybe as businesses approach you, they will also already have put their house in order. They will know all the checks and balances, and all they will be now also ticking all the boxes. So if you could just respond to that, then you also go back to the chat box. Thank you.
Okay, so some of the requirement. Our first step is if an SME approaches us wanting a credit facility, one of the first things we ask for is documentation. Some of the documentation mentioned here. So we would require your company profile, your bank statement for maybe for the past 3 months. I understand that most businesses right now, they are doing mainly cash. Your company registration documents, your security, that is your collateral, your valid tax clearance certificates to see if you are in compliance with if you're paying tax to the government. And most importantly, your financial statements. So in your financial statements, in most instances, we require audited financial statements. So this will help us assess if you're able to repay back the loan. So you can come to us and say, we want 100,000, but your books do not reflect that you can pay the 100,000. Maybe you're eligible for, say, 50,000. We can give you advice and say, look, I think you can qualify for 50,000 instead of 100,000. So our assessments based on the documents that you provide, collateral, and your financial statements. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gutu. I think it is clear now. And Rowan, I don't know if you can now, if you're now able to share, you can just unmute and also proceed.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Still on that.
Okay.
So it means that new businesses or entrepreneurs who are starting businesses, they do not qualify. Since we are looking at, maybe you are saying monthly sales analysis for the past 6 months, we are also looking at these 3 months bank statements. And also you're talking about proposed security. So those who are not mature in business cannot qualify. Is it correct?
Yeah, particularly for the factoring facility, they cannot qualify. But if you present a good case, you can have a local, we can put you under local for SME loans if you present a good case. because we have to satisfy ourselves that you can pay back. That is the main issue. We have to satisfy ourselves that you can pay back.
Can you elucidate on that one? You said we classify you under local. What do you mean by that term? Elucidate. on that.
Okay. If you remember very well, when I was talking about the factoring line of credit, factoring line of credit that I was talking about is targeting exporters. So it's for exporters selling to buyers in a different country. So we cannot place you under that because this facility is going through the Afrexim Bank. So the Afrexim Bank requires these bank statements and the monthly sales analysis for the past 6 months. So what you are talking about the local the entrepreneur who is just starting without who hasn't had 6 months in the business, that is subject to negotiation. You can get in touch with us, then we can maybe draft a facility that suits you, because our aim is to provide tailor-made solutions for each individual, each company. So you can get in touch, then we can talk and we smoothen things up from there.
Thank you, Mr. Gutu. And also, it's also pleasing to hear that you have the flexibility to cater for budding entrepreneurs who may not have all the documentation in place. I'm just going to read another question in the chat box from Dadirai Chikwekwete, who says, how does one access the Gutamuru facility? I'm sure it's the one for the rural agricultural program. Can you maybe explain on that one?
Okay. So that facility is mainly for farmers. We target farmers in a certain area. Usually we do those with irrigation. So we were targeting last year in December. We had in October we had a project for potatoes. So this facility is a targeted one for farmers with irrigation. Because we wouldn't like a situation whereby we have farmers saying, I wasn't able to harvest because there were no rains and stuff. So it's mainly for farmers on irrigation. So we are actually looking for those kind of farmers so that we can give them a financial assistance. So that's the Gutamuru facility.
Thank you so much for giving us insights on the Gutamuru facility. And I think my only observation would be, since government is now pursuing the rural industrialization program, I think it would also be ideal that as we capacitate farmers to grow, there is also need to then promote value chains by also ensuring that there is value addition. Maybe if your credit facilities or lending can also then promote value addition in the rural areas, so that when they grow, they also add value to their produce or commodities. And also that can go a long way in avoiding post-harvest losses. I see a hand from Mr. Mgorogodi. Mr. Mgorogodi, you can go ahead and ask a question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to ask Simba if they finance assets that are not in Zim, let's say India or China or anywhere else. And again, do they need security when they are financing those assets?
Oh, okay. Can I? You would like to acquire an asset in a foreign country? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, like machinery or delivery vehicles.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. You you can provide us with collateral because it is mainly based on the value of the asset that you like to acquire. So to us, it's a loan that we're giving to you. Let's say the asset is valued at 5,000, and you want to buy it maybe in South Africa. We will pay the South African firm 5,000. Have your asset delivered to you, and then maybe the total cost becomes 6.5. That means that your loan value with us is 6.5 plus the interest that we'll be charging you.
Thank you for the response. Rowan, I'll get back to you just now. After reading this question in our chat box from Edward Mutandwa, who says, do you accept biological assets like cattle, goats, or even chickens as collateral for farmers with irrigation? I'm sure this also is also an issue of financial inclusion, whereby if these assets are also put into the matrix, they can also ensure that many people in the rural areas have got access to credit facilities. So over to you, Mr. Gutu.
Okay, thank you. For the farmers, we do not require any collateral. We just wait for you to harvest, sell your products, then we chase for our money. We do not require any assets. What we only require is because we actually visit the fields. We actually visit where you are doing your farming, where you are getting your cattle, where you are planting your potatoes and many other plants. We actually visit maybe 2 or 3 times during the time when the crops are growing. So we do not require collateral from farmers.
And maybe still on that, are there no risks for side marketing? And do you have checks and balances to ensure that there's no side marketing after you've made your financial commitment to such projects?
Yeah, there's a risk, but for these projects we mainly deal if it's in the rural areas, we mainly deal with the headmen and the chiefs. So these people, they actually help us follow up on their people. These people tend to have so much respect for their chiefs and their headmen. So we mainly do it based on that, and we've had few problems so far. We've had few problems. They have been paying actually.
That is all right if that is the case. Now we can move over to Rowan Meda. If you still are ready to ask your question, you can proceed now.
Hello, thank you. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ZNCC, and thank you, Quest Financial Services. In my case, we have letters of intent from 2 German companies who are interested in our products, but we are still developing those products. Would we be in a position to get any financial services based on letters of intent? Because if we are successful in developing the products, then we'll start exporting to Europe.
This okay. You'll be exporting to Europe what are the products, if I may ask?
Okay, we are Mutenga Bamboo, an agroforestry company. We are into bamboo farming and production. We are actually the first company in Zimbabwe to manufacture bamboo toothpicks. So when we went to a program in Germany, they were interested in 2 of our products, that is paper pulp and the activated charcoal powder. So these are the products that we want to acquire machinery from Europe or from China, so that we can start to produce on a big scale for export.
Okay, so you wanted funding to buy machinery?
Yes,
to
so I wanted to know if you can start supporting us on product development so that we meet the requirements, the specifications that we're given. Then after that, we can get another loan to acquire the machinery from China or Europe after the assembles has been successful. Because our challenge right now is product development. The fees for testing, the fees for making sure that we meet all the standards for exports.
okay, yeah, I like what you're doing. This is rather a specific case that would require maybe a one-on-one. So if you can get in touch after the meeting, so that I can talk to my other colleagues on how best we can assist each other.
All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to ask questions. You can show by raising your hands or type in your responses in the chat box so that we can engage as we proceed. But
Yes,
maybe
sir,
for
I've
now,
got a question.
yes, you can go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, you were talking about these loans for farmers, which do not need collateral. Do you
Yes.
need that farmer should own that plot in his or her name? Someone can rent a plot where there's water. How do you process this one or take this one? Someone is renting where there's water. Do you also give someone a loan for that, or just want that plot should be in the name of that farmer?
There should be an agreement. An agreement. Something that shows that the farmer is actually renting. There should be something to show that the farmer is renting the plot. Yeah, then we can help you. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the name of the actual owner. That the actual owner should be the one using the plot. No, even if you are renting, but there has to be evidence that you are renting only.
Thank you.
Thank you for the response. Mr. Good, I just want to also quickly understand with regards to the issue of lending in Zim dollar, where you realize that the bank policy rate at 130%. What is the market response when lending in Zim dollars, and also maybe to hear from participants your experiences as well, given this high bank policy rate, which also might mean that when financial service providers are borrowing from the central bank at 130% and then putting in their markup of say maybe 150, 200%, to me it seems to be on the high side. And how is the response like in the market, and in terms of the repayment as well? Thank you.
Okay. As far as we are concerned, we actually stopped lending in Zim dollars in 2021. We actually stopped because of the rates. The rates were increasing on a daily basis. So it now didn't make sense that we have an agreement on paper with the client that they are supposed to pay, let's say, 53,000 Zim dollars monthly. Maybe at that time it will be equivalent to maybe $50. And when they make a repayment in April, that same 53,000 is now maybe $20. So that was, we're just making losses in terms of Zim dollar lending. So we decided to stop and make it purely to make it purely USD. Because the challenge that we were having with the clients is you cannot be telling a client to, it's not even legal to tell a client to change an agreement and say, no, you are you're supposed to be paying so much because the rate is increased. No, if it's 53,000 dollars, it's 53,000 dollars, and there's no way you can ask a client to pay in USD while the agreement is in Zim dollars. So we were facing challenges in that. We just decided to use the USD as our currency, and I'm sure many finance companies did the same. I am not aware of any finance company that is giving loans in Zim dollars right now. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the response. And participants, if you do have questions, please just show by raising your hand or by just proceeding, and you can just ask. If you need, you can also just type in your question in the chat box as we proceed. Are we all satisfied? Maybe just a quick one again, Mr. Gutu. Just seeing how inflation has been steadily on a steady rise since August last year. I think in August last year, it was somewhere within the range of 18%. And now we're looking at somewhere within the range of 48% as of February last year. With this steady rise in inflation, does it have any effect on your credit facilities in terms of the premiums that you offer at the moment, and also just projecting for the whole of this year? Is it going to be business as usual with inflation rising like this?
Because this inflation for us in the lending market, it actually has it actually erodes our profits, because our facilities are based on agreements, and those agreements are standing. They cannot be changed at any time. So it's actually affecting our projections, the projections that we have had for this week. For this year, the projections that we had this year, they are going to be affected by this inflation. Maybe we had targeted to acquire some assets mid-year. Maybe the income that we would have made when we get to such a point will not be enough to acquire those kind of assets. So we are faced with a burden to adjust many things such as salaries, because the money that you pay to your employees won't be enough. So you'll be trying to look at how best you can increment their salaries to go with the rate of the inflation. So it's actually going to be, we actually project a difficult period this year because of the inflation, and we wish that there could be some ways that we can better ourselves in this kind of environment. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir, for your response. The time is now 10:04, and I think we should be rounding up as we proceed. But maybe just a last question from me, which is with regards to the much anticipated monetary policy that will be announced, I think, any time from now by the monetary authorities. And I just want to hear from you as financial service providers, what expectations do you have in terms of the measures that can be implemented by monetary authorities to help the sector and your businesses so that they can better serve also our businesses and the business community?
Okay, thank you. Actually, we've been we have been looking forward to, because we have heard of a new currency, the structured currency that is to be introduced by the RBZ. So we are actually waiting, and once that comes, that's when we can plan ahead what we're going to be doing going forward. I do not know what structured currency is. I do not know how it functions, but I am looking forward to how that currency is going to be introduced to us and how we are going to be using it for lending. But as it stands, we're just going to maintain our contracts in USD while we wait what's about to come.
Thank you so much, sir. I think there's another question in the chat box from Marian Tukuta, who says, do you also cover farm projects like poultry? Loan repayment start after 6 weeks. I think she wanted to say then loan repayment start after 6 weeks, which is I think the cycle for the maturity of poultry. Then another question from Winnet Musoro Sekwa, who says what percentage is reserved for women and youth on the business? I think this one is also trying to look at the issue of inclusion, seeing that mostly women are and youth are financially excluded. So maybe the question is also seeking to understand if there is a special provision or preferential arrangement when it comes to interest rates for women and the youth. So over to you, sir.
Okay, so at the moment for the first question, at the moment we are not funding any poultry project. But if you have a viable poultry project, you can get in touch with us. Then we can maybe make arrangements. Paying after 6 weeks won't be a problem as long as you can pay. So this can be dealt on a one-to-one basis. So Marian, you can get in touch and then we talk. Then the question from Winnet, what percentage is reserved from women and youth-owned businesses? Frankly speaking, we haven't been giving these loans based on whether one is a woman or a youth. We have just been giving overall businesses and overall farmers. So in those farmers there, but we don't have a specific percentage or a specific rate for the women and youth. No, we don't have that. But in various various portfolios, we have dealt with youth, we have dealt with women, but there was no specific rate for those kind of groups. Thank you.
Thank you for the response, Mr. Gutu. I don't know if we still have questions from participants. If you've got any question, please feel free to ask. Maybe just to also quickly update you that as ZNCC, we also promote we also seek to promote the SMEs to ensure that they get access to funding. And as part of our endeavor, we have got, as part of our awards that we conduct on an annual basis, the Mashonaland Region Business Awards that is upcoming. We're hosting the awards on 10 May this year. We also do recognize financial institutions that support SMEs. We've got an award that is called Financial Institution Most Supporting SMEs, where we will be looking at things like whether they are supporting, they're giving as part of their loan book, what percentage are they giving to, are they dedicating to SMEs? So this is just a call to all financial service sectors in the house. What we will be sending out the call for nomination, and you can also participate. And Quest, through you, Mr. Gutu, also invite you to participate. It is the people who are going to decide whether you deserve it. But I think with these remarks, allow me to just thank you for taking your time to be with us and sharing all these insights. And our intention is just to make sure that the business community is well informed so that they can make decisions that have got a positive impact on their businesses. And to all the participants that were joining us for this special edition, we just want to thank you for your participation and for your engagement. This discussion can just continue. Please feel free to write to us through our email. You can write to us at admin@zncc.co.zw. If we have those who are not yet members of ZNCC who wish to join the chamber, please, by all means, also write to us. So I just want to thank you all. If there are no more questions, I think we can end here.
Thank you very much.
The Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce Membership Express Card is an opportunity to work with business community, to work with the policymakers, to work with even the financiers of different projects, to which we know very well that the business community is hungry for capital to capacitate their businesses. So this card is going to allow for our membership to experience convenience wherever they walk to, be it at an airport, in a bank, in a hotel, or even as they access forex markets to do their business. Some of the problems which have been faced by our members for years included lack of capacity building programs somehow to facilitate their ability to enter the foreign markets. So the membership card is an answer to the core of how can the Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce give value to its membership. As we are launching this card, it is a journey. We are willing to work with everyone who is both a member, a non-member, and even the sponsoring community who are the friends of the Chamber of Commerce. A number of stakeholders or partners are going to be the family members of this particular card, who ranges from industries like the hospitality, the banking sector, the export promotion bodies, even the airlines themselves. So you realize by holding this particular card, it will give you that advantage over an average business person who is not a member of the Chamber of Commerce. So we are inviting all those who are not even members of the Chamber of Commerce to come and join this big tent, which will give you the benefits which had never been experienced before. Some of the benefits are somehow in discounted form, depending on the service providers we are dealing with. Some of the benefits are to do with even convenience, where you are treated like a queen or a king wherever you go to. Some of the benefits are to capacitate your businesses. You will see one of the major sources or factors of production in this economy remains the presence of markets. And the card is capacitating our membership to be able to export their goods beyond the Zimbabwean boundaries. So you can't miss this opportunity. We welcome you to this big tent. As we expect you to subscribe to the membership card, which will target the 3 categories, who are the platinum, the diamond, and the gold categories. Don't miss it. Be part of the Chamber of Commerce.